Hi, my name is Matthew Lombardo, owner of Lombardo Landscaping and Water Features. Today, I'm going to show you the correct way to how to install a plant. First thing you need to do when considering planting an area is to know your plant. It is very important to understand the plant you're working with, whether it likes sun, prefers shade, likes well-drained soil, or can handle extra moist soil. The plant we have here today that we're working with is a variegated arboricola, also called a Schefflera. This plant here does well both in shade and sun areas and can manage very well, and also either well-drained soil or can handle a little moisture. The location for this plant today we have is underneath a couple pine trees and underneath a white bird of paradise. So this particular shrub here will get some partial sun and shade. So this is a very good location, and also is elevated a little where it'll be well drained. What I'm going to do is show you the correct way on how to dig this out and install this plant, and also go through the fertilizing and the steps you should take when doing this. As you can see here, I have laid out an area where I have these plants and they're going to fill in. This particular plant here will get 3 to 5 feet, looking it's a good size. Fill in really nice and fill in this lower area. It's very important you don't put something too small that's only going to get maybe a couple feet tall, and then it's going to look off proportion. And likewise, you don't want to put something that might start small but can get 10-15 feet tall. It's going to look bad in a few years. So now I'm going to show you, I'm going to dig out this area and show how to correctly install this plant. First, you're going to remove, if you have rock or mulch or whatever it is you're using. Here we have pine straw. We're going to remove that away from the area that we're working in. You can do that with a rake or even your hand. You want to get down to the soil. In Florida here, it's kind of a mix of sand and soil. Now I'm going to dig out this area. Okay. When you're digging out this area, it's always good to make the hole about twice the width of the actual plant. This plant here is in a 10-inch pot, so if this hole is roughly probably going to be around 16, maybe 20 inches, is more than enough for a plant this size. So once we have the hole dug out and the depth to where we want it to be, we're ready to install the plant. Now, like I mentioned before, some plants like to be in well-drained areas. If a plant needs to be in drained areas and does not like a lot of moisture, you want to plant the level of the soil up maybe an inch, inch and a half above the ground level. If the plant does not mind being in moist soil, it's fine to put it level with the ground unless you're going to be putting mulch on. If you are going to be putting mulch around it, good idea to leave maybe a ½ inch to put mulch up around it so you don't suffocate and choke out the plant. So I have the hole dug. I'm going to put this plant in. As you can see here, this is way too low. I dug a little too much out. So what I'm going to do is add a little bit more soil back into this hole. And then I'm also going to mix in what I have here, which is a planting mix. Okay? Recommend using a nice rich soil made of compost, manure, whatever it is you have, a good plant mix in. It's always good if you can to do half and half. Half the soil that is already there, half of a planting mix in. So we're going to put a little of this on the bottom. Okay, now we're about the height that I would like to be. We're probably close to about a ½ inch above once we put the soil back around. Once you have a lot of room here, a lot of room in here, okay, now this plant is ready to be planted completely. This allows for the new roots all around here to have a lot of loose soil to grow into and to take really well. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a little bit of starter fertilizer. This is just a very weak fertilizer, more or less, made of organic matter. Put a few handfuls in the hole. And then when we're through, we're going to put some more on top. So once we have the fertilizer in the hole, then we can take soil or again here in Florida, it's a mix of sand. Fill that up a little, maybe halfway. And then we're also, like I mentioned before, going to mix in some compost or planting mix. Again, by mixing in this planting mix with compost, this really allows to give the plant a great start. Feeds the roots and allows for great growth and root development in this plant. So once you have mixed in the soil, we're going to compact everything. Alright, now you can see I was pushing very hard in these loose areas. That is very, very important when you're planting any plant. What happens is when you leave loose areas in there, you leave air pockets. That can cause mold, it can cause rotting, also just weakens and not allow some of the root development to occur that needs to happen when you're installing a new plant. So it's very, very important to push it in and pack the soil in around it. Some people will also recommend watering in a plant while you're doing this. On our smaller 10-inch plants, typically we do not do that unless the soil is very dry. Now if we are working with a large plant, anything bigger than a plant this size, we will always water it in and then pack in the soil. That really helps it a lot to take, plant will take really well. Once we have put the soil around us, any excess soil we have, we can remove out of the area. Smooth out the area that we are working in. And now we're ready to put mulch or pine straw back around whatever it is we need to do. Now you can see this is probably about a ½ inch or so actually above what the level is here. That's good because we're going to put some pine straw around things, which allows it to be drained well. Now I'm going to take some pine straw that we removed from this area and we're going to bring it back in. Okay, now you can see we have the pine straw, whether using mulch, stone, whatever it be, we put it back. Very important again, you can see right in here, we have very little, if any, right up on the plant. That is very important. You do not choke out your plant. It will rot the stem on here and eventually cause the plant to die. Alright, so that's one of a few we have to plant. Normally, what we will do, once we finish planting the rest of these, the plant this size, we'll come by with a hose and water everything in really well. Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and if you have any questions or interested in any of the services that we offer, visit us on our website or give us a call, 239-634-5477. Thank you.